Hi, I'm Dr. John Young, medical doctor, and for a lot of you that don't know me, I started out as an emergency room doctor for about 15 years and realized that I went into medicine to get people better. And all I was really doing was putting bandages on people or trying to slow their progress to death. And I really got sick of it. And I said, really, I want to become a doctor that gets people better. And I started reading about what the old guys of medicine did years ago with their patients. And what I found out is they started out with basic biochemistry and physiology. In other words, just the basics. And they tried to give their patient the best immune system and the best cell membrane they could give them. So I started doing some research, and I came across a name of Joanna Budwig. She was part of that 31, 33, 34 Nobel Prizes the Germans won years ago. And they talked about getting the cell membrane correct. And when you do that, a lot of things correct in the body. So I said, I'm going to start the cell membrane, the basics. And they developed a little cocktail called a Budwig cocktail, not Budweiser, Budwig. And my business partner, he spoke German and actually talked to the Budwig Institute in Germany, and they gave us their blessing, and we kind of Americanized it, you might say. The original was made with quark, and that's hard to get. So here in America, we use cottage cheese. But cottage cheese, making these shakes after a while, people said, I don't think I could ever look at another cottage cheese container in my life. So we've kept the concept and just modernized it with the blessing of the Budwig Institute there in Germany. And it has made a tremendous difference in my practice, because this is the foundation I put basically all my patients on. If you're going to get anyone better, you need a good foundation. And here's how I do it, and there's variations, but there's some key things that you have to do. Now, I use almond milk. People can use regular milk, they can use water, but you need something to mix it in. And I start off with about 6 or 8 ounces of fluid. Too much, too little, you learn to adjust. Then we use protein. And we talked to the Germans, and we use a specialized whey protein. It is just whey protein. There's no additives. It is just the plain thing. It has to be a concentrate. If you're dealing with disease and high insulin levels, you need a protein concentrate. An isolate is for building muscle, lasts 1 to 2 hours in the body. Concentrates dealing with disease last 6 to 8 hours in the body. The other thing is I don't want any oils in the powder. If you have an oil in the product you're using, it's like Crisco, it's been hydrogenized. You do not want hydrogenized oils entering your body. So this is just plain organic whey protein that we've worked with some industry people to develop for us. It's worked very well, so that's why we use it. In fact, one of the largest insurance companies in the world came to me and said, John, because you're so successful with diabetes and hypertension, we actually want to pay you more because you save us so much money. So we use a whey protein. You can also, if you're allergic to whey, you could use a beef protein, or you could also use a, something like a pea protein. Egg protein is also available. Pea protein is not quite as good, but if you have allergies, you need to use it. So we're going to take our whey protein. 1 scoop is about 30 grams of protein. Some say 25, but when you add the almond milk or whatever, it's about 30 grams of protein here. And we'll put it in there. Now, I deal with a lot of diabetics. And the problem with a lot of protein is you can develop some acidosis, which is very bad for diabetics. So I use some drops called AB, or acid-base balance drops, very alkaline drops that really prevent that. I learned that in the hard way that if you don't do that, you can get into some trouble. So I use about 5 to 10 drops of the acid-base drops. Very important if you're a diabetic, maybe not so important if you're not a diabetic. Now, the oil is very important. People tell me, John, I'm taking oil capsules and all that. Taking oil capsules violates basic biochemistry principles. The body, to absorb an oil, it has to be hidden in a protein. Nuts, you don't find the oil on one side of the nut and the meat on the other. Or fish, the oil is not on one side of the fish and the meat on the other. It's emulsified or hidden in the protein. So, I use a special oil. We've talked to the Budwig Institute. I really like this oil. We've made a change because I think this is better quality. This is what we're using now. The Omega Total Omega by Barleans 369. And what we want to do is we want to put about a tablespoon in there. Some people, I was very sensitive, and I started out with 1/4 of a tablespoon and worked up. And so we put about a tablespoon. Some people can use 2. If you do more than 1 shake a day, I'd probably just use the oil in 1 shake because it is calorie dense. But we're remaking a cell membrane, and that cell membrane is very lipid or oil concentrated. Now, you can take it like that, but I am an American and I do like taste. So I would not recommend putting in ice cream. So what we've done is we've used Fruit of the Spirit. And I like this product because it is low glycemic. There's minerals in here. There's about 11 types of fruits in here. And it's the whole fruit, the seed, the meat, the skin, everything. And it has made a huge difference in how my patients feel. They like all the minerals that it provides. So I put in 1 ounce or 2 in here. And then I blend it. And you can blend it. You need to really blend it because you want to hide that oil and protein together. So we're going to blend it here. Right like that. Get it good and mixed. And you can tell it's blended well because you can let it sit for 2, 3, 4 minutes and the oil does not come to the top. Pour. And enjoy. I'll tell you, 80% of the people I put on this, they will come in with a long list of problems, and that list goes right down to just 2 or 3. When you get protein in a person, when you remake a cell membrane, it is amazing what happens with the body. Now you want to know, how do I know if a cell membrane's right? One quick way of doing it is, after about 6 or 8 weeks, if you get that cell membrane right, and I learned this from the Germans, you go outside from 10 to 2, you aren't going to burn. Because when you have the correct cell membrane, the membrane vibrates. And what happens when you have a vibrating membrane, like making popcorn on the stove, when you move it back and forth, it doesn't burn. If you just sit it there, it burns. When that cell membrane vibrates, it's very hard to burn. So I don't use sunblock. I never burn because I have a good cell membrane. So try it. I think you're going to be surprised at how it really does change your whole body biochemistry.